Joint variation. It is represented by y is equal to k times x times z, where y, x, z are the quantities. This tells us that if x and z increases, y also increases. If the values of x and z decreases, the value of y also decreases. The k here is the constant. This joint variation has a similarity to the direct variation. So you can see that x and z here were both directly affects the value of y. Okay, so let us translate the following given into joint variation. Y varies jointly as x and z. So when you see this varies jointly, uh, it is obviously a joint variation. So it is translated as y is equal to k times x times z. So x and z quantity here were joined. That is why it is called joint variation. Okay, now we're given r varies jointly as s and t. So it is translated as r is equal to k times s times t, where k here is the constant. Given number 3, the kinetic energy E of an object varies jointly with its mass m and the square of its velocity v. So that is E is equal to k, the constant, times m, the mass, times v squared or velocity squared. For given number 4, the mass of a rectangular sheet of wood varies jointly as its length and width. So in this case, there is no variable given, so we can think of any letter except k to represent these three quantities: the mass, the length, and the width. So it is translated as m is equal to k times L times W, where m here represents the mass, k is the constant, L is the length, and W is the width. Okay, so let's try to solve a joint variation problem. Given if y varies jointly as x and z, what is z when y is 12 and x is 3? If y is 24 when x equals 4 and z is equal to 3. So it is the same process with direct variation and inverse variation. First, we're going to set up a variation. So we have here the first quantity y varies jointly, can translate it as x. Then our two quantities are x and z. Then there's always a constant here. And that is our variation. Y is equal to k times x times z. Second step, we're going to find the constant k, this one, using, of course, the given with a complete set of given value, like, is it the blue or the yellow? I think it is the yellow. Y is 24 when x is 4 and z is 3. So using the same given variation, we will just replace this y by 24, this x by 4, and this z by 3. So to find k, we will isolate k let us first simplify 4 times 3, and that is 12. Write down 24. Then divide both sides by 12 to isolate k. So k is left here, 12 is cancelled, and 24 divided by 12 is 2. So our k is 2. Then finally, we can now find the unknown. So using this blue set of given, so using the same variation, so our y is 12. Our k here is already obtained, which is 2. Then our x is from the given 3. Then our z here is the unknown. Okay, so simplify 2 times 3, that is 6. Write down z and 12. Divide both sides by 6 to isolate z. So z is written down. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So the value of the unknown, this z is 2. For given number 2, m varies jointly as L and W. M is 200 if L equals 20 and W equals 10. Find M when L equals 15 and W is equal to 10. So first, we're going to set up a variation. We will just follow the same process in number 1. So M varies jointly as the L and W, and K for the constant. And that is our variation. M is equal to K times L times W. We will use this to find the constant. And using this yellow given, because it's complete. Oh no, it's the blue. So M here is 200. Then L is 20. And W is 10. Then simplify 20 times 10, that's 200. Write down K and 200 here. Divide both sides by 200 because we want k to be isolated. Then 200 divided by 200 is 1. Our k is 1. Finally, we can now find the unknown, the m. So using this yellow given here, and using the same variation, m is equal to k times L times W, our m here is unknown, our k is 1, the L is 15, and W is 10. So 1 times 15 times 10, that is 150. And that's the value of our m. Okay, so let's apply those skills that we've learned in a word problem. Given the mass of a rectangular sheet of wood varies jointly as its length and its width. When the length is 20 centimeters and the width is 10 centimeters, the mass is 200 grams. Find the mass when the length is 15 centimeters and the width is 10 centimeters. So obviously, this problem is a joint variation. So first, we're going to set up a variation, and that is the mass. So we can use m here to represent the mass, varies jointly. The length, we can use L for the length and W for the width. And of course, the constant. So that will be our variation. M is equal to K times L times W. The next, we're going to find the constant using the same variation. In this given word problem, it is good if we're going to lay down the given. So our L here is 20, our W is 10, the length is 20, the width is 10, and the mass is 200. And the other set here is the mass is unknown because you are asked to find it. So the mass here is unknown. Our length is 15 and W or the width is 10. So we can now easily identify which of these values are we going to replace for us to be able to find the K. So of course this one, the blue one, because it's complete. So M is 200, the L is 20, the W or the width is 10. Okay, simplify 20 times 10, that's 200. Then isolate K by dividing both sides by 200. K is left, 200 divided by 200 is 1. Then finally, we can now find the unknown, which is the mass, using the same variation. And at this moment, we're going to use this yellow given. So our M here is unknown, our K is 1. Then our L is 15, the length. And this W, the width, is 10. Then multiply 1 times 15 times 10, that is 150. And in our question, what is the mass when the length is 15 centimeters and the width is 10 meters? The mass of our rectangular sheet of wood is 150 grams.